Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. This is Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. Today, I just wanted to quickly recap a live that Mr. Dennis Byron did last night regarding the Cardi B defamation lawsuit case against TASHA K. As you guys know, today we are in day 6 of the trial, and they're not going to have the jury reconvene until about noon. However, this morning is going to be when the attorneys are going to present their argument, and Dennis Byron just did a live recently that basically just said, hey, this morning is a pivotal point in the case for the defense on whether or not this video is going to be admitted into evidence or not. So a couple of things, because I wanted to mainly just recap the things that he said that I found were new information or things that he didn't say previously, because it was about 90 minutes long, and I, of course, will put the link to the live for those of you who had missed it. And he talked a little bit about his credentials, talked about his children and how proud and everything he was of his kids. Also talked about the reason that R. Kelly was mentioned. And R. Kelly was mentioned because the defense's opening argument was trying to say that it's not exclusive to Cardi B's numbers as to why TASHA K has rose to the success that she has, that her R. Kelly videos have gone viral as well. That basically they were trying to say that it's not just Cardi B, that it's R. Kelly's videos as well, that also, got her to a certain point of success. Mr. Dennis Byron also said that he feels sorry for TASHA K in that, he's obviously experienced he has some history with her, of course, that's been documented and everything else. And the way that, things happen when there's conflict with TASHA K and the coping mechanisms. And then he also pointed to a situation that happened. I'm not going to speak on the situation because, again, I want to keep it professional and I want to keep it about the case. But essentially, he wanted to speak on, and he just gave a general thing like, hey, when I'm trying to do reporting, when I'm working. I like to be professional. I like to, do my thing and not have any type of interruptions or things of that nature. And he said that he's going to handle that matter privately, unlike what happened last night with TASHA K. and oh my goodness, that's a whole separate situation in itself. Her arguing with one of her former employees, it was a hot mess. So thank you, Dennis, for having having to address this privately. But, essentially he's had a front row seat to TASHA K. And he said that the TASHA K that you see that's, boisterous with the wine and everything else on her YouTube is not the same TASHA K that has been on this trial. And, he's actually giving her a lot of props that, there was something that she did right to get 1 million subs, that there is something there that is working. However, hopefully, as a result of this trial, maybe she can pivot, maybe she can shift gears to what her approach is going to be moving forward and not use the platform to attack others. And, some people had confided in Mr. Dennis Byron that have been, victims or have dealt with certain things, that they have contemplated suicide because of some of the things that have happened from TASHA K and her winos with some of the cyberbullying. So, and he, wanted to again say that yesterday's afternoon of the defense was not TASHA K's fault, in that her lawyers should have known information that you would have been taught the first year of law school. And the judge was embarrassed and kept admonishing them because it was just awful to see live in person. And he just feels like the attorneys failed her. And all of these, interferences, it could be possible strategy, but there was just too much that was happening yesterday where they were just trying to do basic information or trying to lead TASHA K into answering the questions that, she should have already been prepped or known the answer to begin with. And because they already got called out last week for, trying to give signals to Tasha K on how to answer or this and that, and they got called out for that. So it's just, I think, obviously nobody's trying to bash anybody or bash the attorneys. Everybody's trying to be professional and everything else and be fair in their reporting. But it's obvious that these defense attorneys, like, you essentially got what you paid for, essentially. And, the speculation was, Mr. Dennis Byron was saying, he's not sure if Tasha K's lawyers is doing this for clout or to be attached to a case that involves Cardi B and they don't care whether or not they win the case, but because it is making headlines, because it's making international news, it's getting their names out there. But if your names are out there for the wrong reasons, if your names are out there for being an incompetent legal team, was the clout worth it? If you're not even prepared, even if you could just prepare and put together a decent defense and defend based off of what the lawsuit is and stop throwing out random things that are irrelevant to the case to see what sticks. Bringing up other things that are unrelated to why Cardi B is suing Tasha K is irrelevant because Cardi B's not the one that's on trial. It's Tasha K and her company and whoever is going to be held responsible for the constant content being put out there, continuing to put out the lies about Cardi B. So, it's kind of to Tasha's detriment is what Mr. Dennis Byron was saying, with just her attorneys just completely failing her, completely it just sounded like it was completely awkward yesterday in the courtroom. It honestly does. But Mr. Dennis Byron still feels this will set a precedent for the blogging space, and hoping as a result of whatever takes place, whatever the, jury and the judge rules and everything else, that this will have Tasha K clean up her act. And that you need to have smart people around you. You can't have messy people around or people who are not competent. Like, there should have been extensive research on making sure you found the best civil attorneys, not criminal defense attorneys. That's not the court that's not what we're here for. So again, it's just the embarrassment of even having to ask Cardi B's legal team for help with why they need the evidence and what that evidence is going to do to help their case is just embarrassing. It is completely embarrassing. So, but he did say, Mr. Dennis Byron, that, before all of the interruptions, they were trying to get to a place to present Tasha K in that nothing was handed to her growing up, that she also grew up from humble beginnings and some of the things that she went through and everything else. But there was just too much going on with these defense attorneys that was just not going well at all. They were just not doing a good job. And, the judge picked up on it. The judge thinks that they're trying to do potential tactics to try to cause a mistrial. So the judge is on to the shenanigans, and they're not going to let them get away with it. This judge seems like he is fair, but he also is going to call out the nonsense when he sees it, because he doesn't want anything that is inappropriate or that can be misconstrued in his courtroom. And it's embarrassing. And if there's been complaints already to the board, like, it's just embarrassing. So we'll see, again, but as a result of this, they were supposed to have a full afternoon yesterday till 5:30. And as a result, they lost a few hours of this because of this back and forth, because of the incompetence, because of the start and stopping. And as you'll remember yesterday in the afternoon coverage, the discussions, with the legal expert that, hey, you want a seamless case. You want a seamless testimony so that you can have everything in order presenting to the jury. If you have all of these breaks, if you are doing all of these interruptions, then it breaks up the monotony. And then the jury starts to get confused, or the jury starts to question, okay, why is this happening? Why is there so much, start and stopping of this? And this has nothing to do with, what the meat and potatoes of their defense is. So, but again, he did mention, Mr. Dennis Byron, that Tasha did try to show a little remorse. And I don't know if maybe over the weekend she saw some videos or she read some reporting on how she was in the courtroom, but it seemed like she was a lot more remorseful, a lot more empathetic, potentially, in the courtroom yesterday compared to the energy that was last week. But again, it still was unprofessional in that, she was hitting the mic like a set of drums. Again, still trying to command the room like it's her talk show. But he said that he keeps looking at the jury, and every single juror, they're intelligent. They keep taking extensive notes, and they have been taking extensive notes throughout this case. So, but now the energy that was displayed yesterday from Tasha K was somebody who's remorseful, but still wants to keep up the content until you tell her to take it down. And what I don't understand in that argument is that if you understand that this is wrong, and you understand that continuing to put out a lie about somebody where you have receipts on what the truth is, and they've tried amicably multiple times before even taking it there to a lawsuit, why wouldn't you just take it down? And so I don't know if it just felt at a certain point that maybe she felt she was untouchable because maybe there's been similar content that was put out there about other people and nobody came for her in that capacity. So maybe she thought it was okay. Then Mr. Dennis Byron, discussed Cardi B's therapist and how convincing she was, how she used to work for the NFL, and, really went back to that first encounter in 2018 and why Cardi B was in the condition that she was in and how she's deteriorated over the course of this defamation that's taken place. So, but, Mr. Dennis Byron's thing was Tasha K needs to come off caring. And the fact that she's 10 years older than Cardi B and still, with all of these theatrics on the stand, in addition to how the jurors already responded to watching her videos and watching the things that she said about Cardi B, is just awful. And to say in the courtroom that you're not going to stop till the white folks tell you to, and you have a jury full of predominantly white people, it's like, what are you doing? It's not appropriate. It's not professional at all. He also felt that the plaintiff's attorneys did an amazing job presenting, the picture, the examples of the stabbing, of the internal and external stabbings, of how much it hurt with what each defamation, each slander thing that was said from Tasha K to Cardi B, how it felt like stab and internally bleeding, and how it's hard to, explain emotional stress, emotional distress, and how that impacts somebody. So he felt that that was a very good, very graphic, but pointed point in yesterday's testimony. He also wanted to make it a point to say he doesn't see this ending Tasha K's career, but feels as though she needs to do damage control after this because of everything, that's transpired. And, he had also mentioned the Star Marie Jones lawsuit. He said the best way to win a lawsuit is to stay out of one. And she didn't show up, so essentially Cardi B won by default. So he basically said that there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot more to everything else that Cardi B's attorneys have planned. However, they wanted to make sure they could get this case out of the way and resolve first and foremost. But then there's just going to be more. There's going to be more because if there's going to be a situation where Tasha K and her company is held responsible, then you have to think of damages. Then you're going to have to think of how it's going to then, how all of that's going to play out. So, but again, he doesn't know if it's a situation with these attorneys, if it's like, hey, I went against a celebrity, or even on Tasha K's level, like, hey, I went against a celebrity, I'm getting all this press, I'm making international news, I'm getting the clout. And but I just wonder, did she think that she was going to win this case, or did she underestimate Cardi B and didn't think that Cardi B would follow through with this? Or did she feel that she had a case to win? I'm just curious the thought process and the angle of the confidence in how much she felt that this was all going to, that she could still, she already perjured herself on the stand. She already said all these things. Like, I don't understand what the thought process was and why she didn't listen in advance to, not have it get to this point. So, but again, Mr. Dennis Byron said this is a lesson for everyone. So, and then it was a funny moment because I guess he was parked next to one of Tasha K's defense attorneys, and I guess they must have made a comment like, hey, Dennis, you're not scratching my car, are you? So, again, it's just wild. So there were questions about Cardi B, if she was going to sue YouTube and all this and that. And so, Mr. Dennis Byron said people contacting YouTube would probably have a more of an impact. But he said, and he brought up a good point. He said, think about it. If you are trying to hold somebody accountable for spreading lies about you, and in this type of case, if they are found accountable and liable, then that is going to involve them paying damages. In this situation, would you want them not to have a channel and not a way to pay you for the damages? I personally think best case scenario would be to have all of the videos removed that, discuss Cardi B, or, even if it's a small segment in the show, just all videos that involve Cardi B be removed. And like what's happened with other cases involving content creators, Google just simply takes out, whatever each month for the damages and awards that to Cardi B and her lawyers as best case scenario until they recoup, the attorney fees as well as however much the damages are awarded, and go from there. But again, because you have to think about it, even during this trial, Tasha K, all of her videos are still being monetized. So she's still making money. So the money, there is some money there that's being made. So it's just a matter of how much these damages are going to be if she and Kibi Studios is held liable for, the slander and defamatory and invasion of privacy against Cardi B is ruled in that way. But, like Mr. Dennis Byron said, Cardi B's too big for YouTube. But, he just said there's a way about going things. There's a way about reporting celebrity news and gossip. And he just feels that, this got out of hand. This got completely reckless. And although he doesn't feel Tasha K will lose her channel, he does see a situation where there could possibly be an injunction of the videos and regarding, what the damages of other existing videos. So that's going to be very key moving forward in this case, depending upon the outcome. So then somebody asked about filing bankruptcy, if she could file bankruptcy and not pay Cardi B if it is awarded in Cardi B's favor. And so essentially he said that you have to prove in federal court that you can't pay her, which might be something you can prove easier in state court. But in federal court, like he already said, the Treasury agents are there. There's going to be forensic scientists who are going to follow the trail of where the money is. Best believe. Because if there's a lot in millions that are going to be awarded in damages, they are going to go through a fine-tooth comb to find where the money is hanging out to get to that money, or whether they have to freeze accounts, whatever they have to do. They are going to find where the money is, where the source is. This is a federal case. This is not a game. So, but yeah, he was just basically, I think some of the questions were whether or not Tasha K could recover, and a lot of people were asking duplicate questions about whether or not she would lose her channel. But he said, she has the talent. But he did say that there's a lot going on with the aesthetic of the wine and the one-eyed teddy bear and the concentrated wine. He doesn't like the one-eyed teddy bear and all of that. But again, also the other thing Tasha K has to keep in mind that Mr. Dennis Byron said is with high profile this case is, depending on the outcome, this could give the license for other people to sue Tasha K as well. So again, this can go, lots of directions depending on the outcome of this case. So, but he said it's a different Tasha K from the ones that you see on YouTube, intimidating others, this and that on social media. But in this type of environment in federal court, it's not, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame from the YouTube persona that's being presented. And he also made it a point to say, hey, YouTube is benefiting off of this. And they are. Look how many content creators are doing daily updates about this trial. Look how much coverage YouTube is making a killing off of people discussing this case. But yeah, essentially the bottom line was for people asking about whether or not the channel was going to be removed. He brought up a good point. He said that Tasha K needs this channel. She needs her YouTube channel to be able to pay Cardi B if she's held liable. She needs that revenue. She needs that income to pay if she is found guilty, if she's found liable. If her and Kibi Studios are found liable, she needs her channel active to pay back that money. But hopefully, they could also rule that she takes down all videos concerning Cardi B and never discusses Cardi B again. But yeah, it's just a lot because it's just a crazy world that we're in right now with the YouTubers falling out. And then the drama last night with Tasha K. I'm like, girl, go to sleep, rest for your case, get in the right mind. Don't be arguing with people. It was just a hot mess. And I don't know whether or not I'm going to do a separate video on that or not, because it was just a hot mess. And I just couldn't even believe what I was seeing. A little bit of it that I saw, because I'm like, you are in the middle of the biggest federal lawsuit case of your life. This is not the time. This is not the energy to be going back and forth with somebody over some internet stuff. Like, you guys should have had the conversation in private instead of this whole mess that now everybody's going to be discussing today. So, I don't know. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you guys think on the recap for Mr. Dennis Byron's live. Again, I will, of course, put the link in the description box so you guys can check it out for yourselves. I will update later today whatever is going on day 6 of the trial so that we can be abreast of whether or not this evidence is admitted for the defense and where the defense goes from here for the rest of their case this week. So we will be updating on all of that. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Those of you new to my channel, welcome. I do have a playlist specifically regarding all of the Cardi B defamation lawsuit case against Tasha K, updates what's going on in the morning and afternoon and every day starting from last week. So please check that playlist out if there is anything that you have missed. Those of you who've been back multiple times, thank you so much for your continued support. I am grateful, thankful, and appreciative in each and every single one of you. And please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys again very soon.